I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live demo with you. Let me ask something real quick. Can you see the new tab that I opened? Okay. This demo is going to be the steps that I take to vet somebody digitally. I kind of snoop around behind the scenes and I try to see what they're really made of. You can get a referral, you can get a recommendation. People can tell you amazing things about themselves. They can make whatever story they want up on their website. But you should do some due diligence and kind of go and look at a few basic things before you hand over and decide to do thousands of dollars worth of business with somebody. That's kind of the premise of this, is the steps that I take. I have a vendor that really failed big time. And so I'm going to use this vendor as my example. And it's Savvy Book Marketing. Savvy Book Marketing claims to be in business for 10 years. And they have they have a location listed in New Jersey. If you do a little more research, you find that they also have a location listed in the United Kingdom. So this is great. It's a big company. They're multi-location. They really should have their things together, right? And this is what I should be able to find when I go connect the dots. One of the first things I wanted to do was find out, okay, so where's the business registered? How long have they been in business? Are they really who they say they are? I went and I found the New Jersey business name search, because New Jersey and UK are where they said. If this was Arizona, I'd be going to the Arizona Corporation Commission, where all of us have gone to register our businesses, and I'd be going to look and see if the vendor was registered. And in this case, I didn't find anything. I find Savvy Books, and I look into that, and it's a bookkeeping service. And so I find, okay, well, they're not registered as a business in New Jersey. Okay. My next question then becomes, well, then what exactly is at that address that they claim to be at in New Jersey? And so I go to Google Maps, do a little digging around, and I find a preschool at the address. Okay, well, those dots didn't really connect for me, but maybe they rent office space above the preschool. It's possible. So I decided to go try and find the company in a UK business search. And actually, the United Kingdom is really good about this one. I find Savvy Book Limited, or Book Savvy, but I cannot find Savvy Book Marketing. So to this point, I've just decided I don't know that they're really doing any legitimate business. I don't think they're doing legitimate business at the preschool. I take the time and I look up their address in the UK, and I find that it's a co-working space. I did a little more digging into this place, and at one point I found that you could get a mailbox with them so that you could list this as your business address. So, and I tried searching this address, couldn't find the business associated with it. Took another step, because I'm looking at their website, I'm trying to vet who they are, right? Well, they've got to have social media, especially since they're a marketing company. So I find their social media page. They've got some reviews, but when it gets really juicy is when I go to the community section and I find this lovely little post. You are using my books cover in your portfolio without my permission. The Amazing Afterlife of Animals. I've never worked with your company. Remove it immediately or I will seek legal action. Anybody on screen right now want to do business with these guys? No. And somebody was really ready to hand over like $10,000 to this company to do all their stuff. And I said, just let me do a little fishing around. All right. So I'm at the point, I don't think that they're a real company. I think they're a scam. But you know what? They've got some review sites that they list. So let's follow that. And what do I find? Warning, stay away from this fraudster company. They claim to have an office. It's a sham. I won a lawsuit against them for not being who they claim to be. This was simple research using public data. Oh, there's one more little thing. Whois.com. I use this website for just about anybody and anything. You put in a domain, and it tells you if you can buy it. Well, it's not available, which I knew that, but I want to see who registered it. More importantly, I want to find out when it was registered on, because this company's been in business for 10 years. But they've only had this domain since 2020. They've only been using their email system since 2020. And that doesn't indicate a business of 10 years. Arizona Corporation Commission and Whois.com, those are both resources that you guys could use to vet Arizona-based vendors. Finding out if they're a legal entity. Did they file a DBA? Do they have a domain name? Do they show signs of sticking around? Do they show signs that they are established? And I want to know if anybody has questions.
You found yourself a really good one
I did.
to refer to it as, you know, as a dummy. I like to Google their phone number. Usually not the toll-free number, but if they've got a local number, you can find out all kinds of information about a company by their phone number showing up or not showing up.
That's another good tip.
Rose, are you doing this for companies that you're working with, or are you doing this for companies that want to be a part of WBC?
Interesting. That type of research I've likely done on everybody on the screen, because I want to know who I'm working with. If you're a new, it's your first time, I've got to go find your address. I got to go find all this information. And so, yeah, I go to the Arizona Corporation Commission and see if I can find a mailing address. It's not something that's required, but this is something that I just do. And if any of my clients, anybody that's under my protection, this is what I'm going to do before they decide to go do business with somebody, and warn them what you're about to walk into. And it's something that I do, yes, for my own company. If I'm about to do business with somebody, is I want to know who I'm working with.
Rose, I just want to say, I think this is absolutely great and essential, especially just digging a little bit more, because inevitably you'll come to somebody's feedback or reviews, or you'll get to the true story from other people's experiences. And, you know, it's, I think, the best investment of our time to do that in advance. So thank you for sharing it. And I love that Whois.com website. I wasn't aware of that. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. There was a couple of the things that I tried to do with this vendor that didn't flesh out very well. They had testimonials. I couldn't find any of the people that were the testimonials. Google allows you to search by an image. And there's been vendors in the past, not this particular one, that when I downloaded the image from their company portfolio, from their Who We Are, it turned out to be stock images. Every single one of their staff members was stock photography. That was just another little way of catching. Another thing I didn't show was that on LinkedIn, they didn't have any employees. They're a marketing company. And marketing people are going to be on LinkedIn, and they're going to have a profile, and they're going to be found, and they're going to, but that didn't exist. And so there's another little thing that told me they're not real. Cool. Vendor vetting.
So, Scott, I just Googled my own phone number and found out stuff about myself I didn't even know, but it was real.
It is a great way to test what's going on, because believe it or not, it's not just Rose that's doing this, but your customers are. They want to know if you're really in business. If they're going to plop down some money, they want to know that they can trust you. And a lot of times people say things like, oh yeah, well, I book 90% of the people that I get in front of. Well, that's because they've already done all that research, and that's why it's so easy for you to book them. So it's important to all of us to make sure that our information is current,
Yep.
correct, and congruent. There's the 3 C's for you. So in other words, if you have one address over here and a different address over there, go ahead, Brent, help me.
I mean, some of these you're calling them their KYC questions, right? They're the know your customer questions, and depending on the industry that you're in, it is imperative that you do understand. I mean, I'm looking at, I know like Bill probably might deal with this when he's dealing with like technology overseas. You got to be making sure you're not like selling something to to like a blacklisted country or things like that. I mean, I deal with it when I look at like securities and such, because you have to do at least a cursory investigation on who's doing the issuances. If you're raising money as a startup company or something like that, you can't be on the bad actor list, right? And so it can be, you may not think it's that big of a deal, but it can also get you into some legal trouble if you're dealing with somebody and you didn't at least do a Google search and find out you were dealing with a terrorist, so.
That's a good point, that you should be responsible for doing some due diligence yourself.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, being a bookkeeper, like I have to do that same kind of vetting process when I bring on a new client, right? Because I can't just bring on someone who doesn't have a legitimate business. So I usually do the same thing, go to the corp websites, check and make sure that the business is a legal entity. They're an entity that they say they are, how long have they been in business, what kind of stuff they have going on, because you could find yourself in a situation on the bookkeeping or the accounting side per se. With that kind of same scenario, you don't want to be building anybody's financial statements that aren't a real business. So
We take a picture.
Yeah. Miss Deborah, are you there?
Breck did not wait a moment. He heard picture and he says, "Oh, I'm on camera."
No, I didn't want to get called out by Rose.
Deborah, I can Photoshop you in if you're busy with your little one. On 3, best smiles. 1, I'll wait for you, Therese. I saw the chewing. 1, 2. Thank you very much. You're famous. You're fabulous. And we'll see you all on Facebook. Liz, I'll send you a friend request so I can tag you.
Did you get Deborah?
Oh, okay. One more time.
Sorry.
Just
I have
for
terrible
Deborah.
coffee and I fixed it. And okay.
Okay. On 3. One more time. 1, 2. Thank you very much.
Woohoo. All right. I didn't, usually after the presentation, the topics of the breakaway has to do with the presentation, but I just didn't feel like sending everybody into rooms to talking smack about vendors they've vetted.
That's fun.
If you want to talk
Oh,
smack about vendors, you can just stay back in the main room and we'll just let this be the smack talking room or the Rose Q&A room. But we're going to open up the breakout rooms and let's see. What you do is you'll pick the topic that you want to answer and speak to. Our topics today is what's one of your favorite memories? Who is your best teacher and why? Where do you get your best ideas? If you could only eat one thing, and what is your favorite word and why? I have a feeling Deborah's favorite word is mommy.
No.
No.
I mean, I love hearing it, but if I'm going to be real, it's an inappropriate word.
Okay. For more on that, join Deborah in the favorite word room. Go ahead and click on the breakout rooms and you'll have a choice of picking a topic, hop in a room and get to know your fellow WBC members. And then if you want to just ask me questions or vendor bash, I'll be right here.